CQ Blind Ham. Hello, CQ Blind Ham. CQ Blind Ham from November Echo 5 Victor. CQ Blind Ham. CQ Blind Ham from November Echo 5 Victor.
This is the CQ Blind Hams podcast. For more information, visit www.blindhams.com.
Hello to all. My name is Chris, November Echo 5 Victor. And I have threatened to do this for a while, but I think I'm going to finally do this. A series of podcasts on the Clearnode, put out by node-ventures.com, Jerry Philby and company. And I've been using this for roughly a year and a half, thereabouts, perhaps a little bit longer. But I've rather enjoyed this. Anyway, this Clearnode itself is just a little box. Has a bunch of ports on it. Some are covered, some are not. But about the only one that really matters as far as ports go is the bottom right hand corner. That's the power port. It's a USB. And that's with the antenna connector on the top right. Anyway, that's where that power port is. There's lots of others, but in terms of a Clearnode, none of the others are really used. Now, many of us who got the Clearnode decided to get as much plug and play as possible. And Jerry pretty much will make that happen. As if you order the node from Node Ventures, he'll send you out a questionnaire. And, if you want to do it that way, give Wi-Fi credentials, node number, node password, Echolink node number, Echolink password, and all these various and sundry things. Most of the time, when you get it back, or when you get it, you can pretty much plug it in, and it goes. Don't really have to do anything for it. Within about 4 or 5 minutes or less, you can be connecting to your favorite all-star node, or if you don't have a favorite, your first all-star node. And that was quite an experience. I remember doing that. Yeah, I've had this node in operation probably since Thanksgiving of 2019. But anyway, when you get the Clearnode app out of the box, there's a few things you'll have to do to actually make this work, because the most convenient way to control this node is through an app, which is available on iOS or Android. And anyway, before you get the node, Jerry sends out this very, very, very long key that you end up having to insert into the app itself. But anyway, you get the app, and what I did, once I got an email telling me that my node was on its way, I went into the node and inserted this particularly long key into the app. Because what you'll do is, when you open up the app for the first time, it'll ask you for a key. And, there's several ways one can go about that.
Setting Wi-Fi button.
Anyway, when you first open it up, once you insert the key, you plug your node in. When you bring up the app, you'll get in a menu something like this. The first screen, you'll have settings.
50,000.
It'll be your node.
Idle button.
Now this happens to be my Clearnode number 50663. I want to go into here, so I'm going to double tap.
Your nodes, back button.
And I'm going to probably divide this up, but anyway, the first thing you'll see,
Node details, heading.
node details.
Menu, button.
Now this menu has a few things that you can control on the node, so let's look at this.
Menu, alert, actions for your node. Choose an action. Show available Wi-Fi networks, button.
So you can look and you can see what Wi-Fi networks are around if you're already connected.
Enable parrot mode, button.
This is enable parrot mode. And of course we all know what that is. That will repeat what you say. Key up the microphone, unkey, and then you'll hear it come back. This is at the local level. This is really not on the internet. It's at the local level.
Disable parrot mode, button.
And when you get through, you can disable that mode.
Enable incoming connections, button.
Enable incoming connections. Yeah, there's a little bit more to it than this, but I'll get to that in another podcast on settings.
Disable query all-star registration, button.
Now this you can actually query, and you can see whether your node is actually registered. I know mine is, but just for the sake of argument, I'm going to do this.
Menu, alert, message from node.
So I'm going to swipe to the right to hear the message.
Node, 50,663. BSRS1.4.23 pre. HAMVOIP-V1.6.2. 10app_RPT.327 06/01/2020. Copyright 1999, 2020. hamvoip.org and others. Created by Mark Spencer less than Markster at digium.com greater than asterisk. Comes with absolutely no warranty. Type core show warranty for details. This is free software with components licensed under the GNU General Public License version 2 and other licenses. You are welcome to redistribute it under certain conditions. Type core show license for details. 73 equal signs connected to *1.4.23 pre. HAMVOIP-V1.6.2 10app_RPT.327 06/01/2020. Currently running on node 50,663. PID equals 345. Host DNS-MGR username. Perceived refresh state 162.248.92.131 4569 Y 50,663 72.179.10.30 4569 181 registered executing last minute cleanups.
Well, that's actually a long way around of saying the node is registered, but that's what it looks like when you actually read the console. There's actually a quicker way to determine whether a node is registered. I'll get to that, but anyway, let's get out of this.
Message from no okay button. Menu button. Power button.
Now the power menu is where you can either reboot or shut down the node, and of course that's probably self-explanatory.
Play button.
Now this play button, this is another thing that I can probably get into later. I'll get to that later, so let's skip that for now.
Type 818. Tap to configure button.
Alright, this is actually a radio type. This uses an SA818 radio for transmitting and receiving. And this menu lets you configure different options. I'll talk about this when I do the podcast on settings.
Connections.
But mainly I want to get into the connections here.
Add connection. Idle.
Okay, so at the moment I am not connected to anything on this node. I'm going to turn on a radio here so we can kind of see what happens. Right now it says idle. If I want to add a connection, if I want to use the app to connect to a node,
add connection button.
Here's an add connection button.
All-star heading. Add all-star connection heading.
Now you can, most of the time you want to, well, at least
Tab,
a lot of us, we tend to use all-star.
All-star tab 1 of 3.
We connect to all-star nodes. But you have, at the bottom of the screen, if you go to the very bottom, you'll find there's 3 different options that you can have. All-star,
Echo Link,
you can collect to Echo Link nodes.
Digital, tab 3 of 3.
Or you can connect to digital nodes. Digital is kind of its own little animal. We can get to that at some point. But I want to get to the all-star.
Connect behavior, heading, add button.
Now there's a lot of options here.
Disconnect before connect.
Now, I like this feature, especially if you go wandering from node to node to node. If you enable this option here, it will allow you to connect to another node, and before it does it, it'll disconnect you from any nodes you're on. The good thing about All-Star is you can connect several nodes together. The bad thing about All-Star is you can connect nodes together. But if you want to prevent that, then you can enable this, so where if you accidentally forget to disconnect a node that you're on, you can connect to another. You can connect to another node, and it'll disconnect you from the node that you're on now.
Disconnect before connect. Switch button off.
Now, right now, mine's off, but if I wanted to enable that, I could. It took me a little while to get used to how he does some of these things. The first time you find it, you'll hear a function. Swipe over to the right, then I'll hear whether the switch is on or off.
Connection history heading. Blind Hams West 506310. Vertical line K4DYI. Permanent.
Let's see, there's a few other things.
Monitor only. Enable tagging. Switch. Enable tagging. Monitor only.
Now, if I just want to monitor a connection, if I don't want to transmit on it, I can use the monitor function.
Monitor only. Switch button off. Permanent. All-star/Echo Link only. Permanent. All-star/Echo Link only. Switch button off.
The normal rule, I don't use that, because what a permanent connection does is, if for whatever reason a node is disconnected, it'll try to connect up again. But if you're on a busy system, you may not want to use that, because there may be an occasion where somebody needs to connect you for some reason, and you don't necessarily always want it to try to reconnect.
Disconnect before connection history heading.
Oh, now you have a connection history. Every time you connect to a node, it stores it in this list.
Blind Hams West 506310. Blind Hams Dallas 506315. Dark KY2D 2396. Vertical line KY2D. Vertical line 145.670. Vertical line Win System 2560. Vertical line K6JSI. Vertical line Wins 2585. 2585. Vertical line W2JLD. Vertical line All-Star/Echo Hub 3. Vertical line Rochester NY.
Okay, I don't want to save that one, so anyway, I can actually delete this node number by swiping down.
Delete.
Hit it.
Performed action. Delete. 27,133. Win
Anyway,
system.
there. Let's see.
27,133. 27,133. Vertical line N5ZU. A vertical line HUP nodes vertical line.
Okay, but anyway, you can, if you have a history of nodes, you can connect to these. Oh, and you'll get something like this.
KY2D 2396 vertical line K radio. Your nodes back button.
KY2D connected to NE5V.
So, as you can hear, I'm now connected to KY2D.
Your nodes, node details,
And it takes me out of that screen.
Connections. Add connection. KY2D, OUT, 2396 vertical line KY2D vertical line 145.670 vertical line Morristown, NJ button.
Now I swipe back over to KY2D. If I want to disconnect it on the iPhone, I swipe up or down.
Disconnect.
Doesn't matter. I'll hear disconnect.
Performed action. Disconnect. Idle.
KY2D disconnected.
And lo and behold, we are disconnected from that particular node. You can also search for nodes.
Your nodes. Note menu.
So if I go back up here to
connections. Add connection.
add
button.
connection.
All-star heading. No detail. Add all-star search button.
Go to the top of the screen, top left, swipe over right until I hear search.
Search alert. Search for node.
Now search for node.
Enter text to search the public all-star list of operating nodes. E. G. Call sign, location, affiliation, etc. Note, a maximum of 100 results will be returned. Text field is editing. Search text. Character
So if I
mode,
wanted to, I
insertion
could
point
plug
and
in a
star.
particular location, or I can plug in a call sign, or I can plug in a node number. So let's do this. We'll put in a search.
Insertion point at end.
Now, for instance, if I wanted to search for, say, Johnny NE5L, he has several nodes.
J. N. N. E. E. Number. 5. Quotation at. It letter. L. L.
NE5L. So then I go back
Enter
up here.
text, search for node. Enter text. Search for text. Enter text. Search button.
Here we are.
507291. 507291. Vertical line NE5L. Vertical line cloud node. Vertical line Ellaville, Mississippi.
He has 3 different nodes. So let's connect up to one of them here, just for grins.
Enable radio. Add connection button.
NE5V.
Maybe so, because it's ones like that that just mess up the whole day.
Anyway, there's some activity on here. Now, another feature about this particular app,
LAN IP address. No. 507291.
if I want to see how many nodes that
507291.
this is connected to, I can hit this node number 507291. That's what node I'm connected to.
No details. Links 3. Heading.
And it's linked to 3 different nodes.
507291. NE5L vertical line cloud node vertical line L. 507293. NE5L vertical line 433.0000 vertical line Ellaville, Mississippi. 507294. NE5L vertical line 433.0000 vertical line Ellaville, Mississippi. 5.
So, anyway, that's a little bit of that. Let me get out of this.
Notification. Messenger. Back. 100. Back. Messenger. Settings for Chris and Claudia Miller. Button. Chats. Heading.
That's not what I wanted.
App switcher. Messenger, active. App switcher, Clearnode, Clearnode. MAC app Clearnode, your node 50,000. MAC address, add connection button. 50, disconnect.
I want to disconnect from this node.
Performed action, disconnect.
So I'm disconnected, and now the screen says idle. There's a whole bunch of other information type things on this screen.
Node 50,000, 5072, type, add connection, connection, your
Let's
nodes,
go back.
button. Your node, refresh, button. Menu, your nodes, Wi-Fi, settings, 50,000, 50,000, radio. Your node details, head, menu, power, play, button, radio. Type, 808, connections, add connection, idle. Node 50,663. MAC address, B827EB9.
Gives your MAC address,
LAN IP address,
your LAN IP address.
168.1.18. Wi-Fi SSID, my Spectrum Wi-Fi 6.
Anyway, there's that.
July 6th, 4:33 p.m.
There's the last connection that I made.
Last disconnect, July 6th, 4:35 p.m.
That's my last disconnect.
Hardware ID,
There's
R21 newtons, 716.
hardware ID.
CPU temperature, 125 degF.
Okay, so the temperature of the node right now is 125 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not too bad.
Last connection OUT, 507291.
Last connection out.
Node 50,000. Last disconnect, July. CPU temperature. Last WAN IP address, 72.
There's the public IP address.
Startup, July 4th. Last startup, July 4th, 4:57 p.m.
And the last boot, last time the node was booted was July 4th, 4:57.
Versions.
And then here's the various versions of software.
Red Node API 70 button. All-Star Controller, RNH1 Digital Bridge Controller 1.5.4 asterisk 1.4.23 pre switch. SH version, no details.
Anyway, and then we'll get into settings. I'm going to get into that in another podcast, I think. Okay, now I probably can do this. You can't actually connect to other modes, so I'm going to do something a little bit different here. This is something that I don't always do very often.
Node versions.
Let's go back to the add connection screen.
Node last is node 50 Wi-Fi S node LAN node MAC add connection button.
Add connection.
Idle add connection button. All-star heading. Add all-star connection heading.
Now just for grins, I'm going to go to the digital mode.
Tab bar digital tab,
which is on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Now I have this set up for Brandmeister at the moment. I'm on DMR.
Selected digital tab 3 of no details DMR 3103.repeater.net heading.
And it's telling me DMR 3103. That's I'm on server Brandmeister server 3103.
Search button, add button, connect behavior, enable tag, enable monitor only. Permanent disconnect before connection history TG3100 TG31000 TG31000 TG3000
I want to go to parrot mode.
990 number sign.
There we are. So this is a DMR parrot.
Radio.
9 connected to NE5V.
Okay, so it's telling me I'm connected to node 1999, which is normal, because all digital calls are handled through a private node 1999. You know, if I key up on this, we should be able to hear a parrot we should be able to hear the signal come back. This is November Echo 5 Victor testing on Parrot.
This is November Echo 5 Victor testing on Parrot.
For whatever reason, that's a little bit noisy. Let's try it this way a minute. This is November Echo 5 Victor testing on Parrot.
This is November Echo 5 Victor testing on Parrot.
Well, as you see, it's so-so. It's not a very good deal. Digital mode, you have to connect using the app. That's about the only way you can select it. So let's get out of this.
Radio. Add connection. DM:*T. Disconnect. Performed action. Disconnect. DM:*TV99.
11999 disconnected.
Okay, this one's probably gone on long enough. I'll get to some other features in another podcast. We'll concentrate on settings. Okay, on digital mode, you have your choice of DMR, YSFN, FCS, P25, or NXDN. I haven't really played with many of these things. I have tried DMR and I've tried YSFN once or twice, but it didn't really turn me on much, so I hardly ever use them. Echolink, it's so-so also. I just prefer All-Star. But the next one, I can talk a little more about the settings and so forth in the Clearnode. This is Chris NE5V 73 for now.